Hi, and welcome to Epic Restorationz. Today begins the next chapter of our Model A restoration as we finally begin sandblasting the body. Before we can start sandblasting, we need to finish stripping the body down so nothing gets in the way. That means removing a few things from the firewall, taking off the visor, and pulling off those makeshift replacement fender wells that were riveted over what was left of the original rusted out ones. By the end of the day, we'll have this thing down to bare metal and finally get to see what's been hiding underneath 90 years of paint, rust, grease, and grime. Could be good, could be scary. Either way, it's about to get messy, so let's get to the barn and let's get to work. Before we could start sandblasting, we needed to strip off what was left of the interior. That meant the old wall panels, ceiling fabric, and the padding that sat on top of the chicken wire roof base. You always want to remove as much as possible before blasting, because sand gets everywhere. Any leftover fabric or insulation will just trap the sand and hold moisture later, which can lead to rust. Plus, blasting will shred away that old material anyway, and you don't want any debris sticking to your fresh metal. The cleaner the body going in, the better the results coming out, and the fewer surprises that you'll find later when it's time for bodywork and paint. With the interior stripped out, the next step was cleaning up the firewall. We pulled out what was left of the old terminal box and wiring. Most of it was brittle and falling apart. We'll replace it all later with a new harness, but for now, we just need the firewall clean and clear for sandblasting. Next, George went to work on the rear fender wells, and these things were a real piece of work. At some point in this car's long storied history, someone decided to fix the problem by riveting a set of thin replacement panels right over the rusted out originals. Underneath it was nothing but Swiss cheese. Holes, rust, and old metal just hanging on for dear life. One by one, the rivets let go and the passenger side panel finally came free, revealing the original fender well underneath, or at least what was left of it. Then it was on to the driver's side, where the process started all over again. By the time the panels were off, we had a clear look at the real condition of the metal underneath. And well, it wasn't pretty. But that's okay. That's the whole point of tearing it down this far. Finding out what's solid, what's not, and what needs to be rebuilt the right way. With the fender wells finally off, we turned our attention to the front of the body, specifically the visor. This old Model A has clearly seen a few creative repairs over the years, and the header was one of them. At some point, someone replaced it with a few random chunks of wood and wedged them in, just well enough to hold things together. Not exactly factory spec, so all that's coming out too. We'll put it all back together properly later on with the correct header once we get to that phase of the restoration. But for now, we just needed to pull the visor off so we can sandblast, repair, and repaint it along with the rest of the body. And with that done, the body was officially stripped down and ready to roll outside for sandblasting. Now, before we get started blasting, let's talk a little bit about what we're using. For this job, we went with a fine number 52 silica sand. This type of sand works great for what we're doing here. It's fine enough to clean the surface thoroughly without being too aggressive on the sheet metal. The goal is to strip away the paint, rust, grease, and grime, not to warp or pit the panels. The smaller grain size gives us more control and a smoother finish, which is especially important when you're working on thin metal like Model A body panels. As always, if you're blasting with silica sand, make sure that you've got good ventilation and proper safety gear. Around here, it's safety first because this stuff gets everywhere. With that in mind, it's time to fire up the blaster and see what's been hiding behind all that green paint. We started sandblasting on the driver's side, focusing first on the rear quarter panel. It didn't take long to see just how rough it really was. There's plenty of rust damage hiding underneath, masked off by a layer of Bondo and likely a little bit of lead. This will all need to be cut out and replaced when we start the metalwork phase. As the old paint started coming off, one thing became clear. This green paint wasn't original. It came off almost too easily, and underneath it, in the door frame, we found what looks like the car's original black finish. Chances are that green coat was just a quick rattle can job from years ago. We worked our way slowly around the back of the car, taking extra care around the rear panel where the spare tire mount used to be. As the sand stripped the layers away, you could see where rust had started creeping in around those holes, and a few areas that had been patched long ago with filler. We'll need to clean that up and reinforce it before the mount goes back on. Still, it's rewarding to finally see that bare steel again, a clean slate for the repairs ahead. After finishing much of the back, we moved up the passenger side, keeping most of our blasting below the belt line to start. The goal here was to clean off the heaviest rust and grime without warping the thinner sheet metal. Once the lower half was cleaned up, we moved higher, carefully working our way around the doors, the window frames, and the roof edges to get everything down to bare metal. To finish up, we sandblasted inside the front of the body and gave the rest of the interior a quick once-over. That took care of decades worth of grease, grime, and buildup, leaving us with a clean, bare surface and a much better look at what we were really working with.
With all the sandblasting finished, we finally got our first honest look at what's been hiding under all that paint, rust, and filler. And let's just say, it's not great, but it's not as bad as it could have been.
Starting on the passenger side, you can really see how much the lower quarter panels have suffered over the years. There's areas of rust, Bondo, lead, and some thin pitted metal that'll need to be cut out and replaced. The good news is the door frames and upper body lines actually look pretty solid, which will save us a lot of time later on. The driver's side is in about the same shape. Most of the damage is concentrated down low below the belt line, so that's where we'll focus when we start patching in panels. Up top, the roof edges and visor area actually cleaned up nicely. Once we rebuild the header properly and treat the bare metal, those areas should be good to go. The rest of the body isn't too bad overall. There's some pitting and a few small pinholes, but structurally, it's in decent shape. With a little patchwork and smoothing, it'll clean up nicely. The original body lines are still visible, which is always a good sign. Seeing it in bare metal really changes your perspective. It's not just about what's wrong, it's also about what's still right. We've got a solid foundation to rebuild from. The next step will be cutting out the bad sections, welding in some new steel, and slowly bringing this old Ford's body back to life.
All in all, it's a big step forward. We've gone from guessing what's underneath to knowing exactly what we're dealing with. Over the past year, we've been planning out and acquiring our patch panels, replacement subrails, and cross channels to get this old Model A one step closer to solid metal again. Once our patches are made and our new steel's attached, we'll give the car one last once over with the sandblaster and get some primer on it. But for now, join us next time as we continue our journey restoring this 1930 Ford Model A on the next episode of Epic Restoration.